Welcome to LugCon, Let Us Game Convention. This is a talk or conversation about digital campaigning and how to keep your campaigns completely digital. Especially, it's becoming a bigger draw right now because of all the Google Hangouts and all that kind of role playing. And so I figured this be a great time to just kind of compile it all and talk about it all and share what I've learned about different things. So this is going to be recorded in 5 different videos just because it covers so much information. I want to keep it kind of short and consumable at about 15-20 minutes. So first one's going to talk about the digital publishing. So basically, the 5 stages are: you have to buy your books. That's the publishers and distributors. You have to make your characters. That's going to be like trackers and generators. You need to talk with people online, and you need to have tools like Roll20 to play your game. And then it's nice to have a way to talk about your game on like a blog, like Obsidian Portal. So those are the quick points, and this one's going to talk about digital publishers. So when we talk about digital publishers, not all distributors are the same. Drive Through RPG is one of the main ones. If you haven't used Drive Through RPG, they have a lot of PDFs. They might do ebooks. I didn't check, but they have digital formats for you to get books, tokens. I think you can get maps there and stuff like that. If not, I got a link for maps later. But Drive Through RPG is how you're going to get your books. And so you need to start with the role playing game, correct? So where are you going to get it? Going to go online and grab, like Shadowrun Catalyst Games does a lot of PDFs. That's what I buy a lot of through Drive Through RPG. They have some pay what you want if you want to save a little money, or if you want to just like even pay extra because you want to support the people. Pay what you want is a good way to do that, and it's pretty cool. So you have different ways to do it. It's a fixed price or it's a pay what you want Drive Through RPG, and they have different genres. So once you delve into Drive Through RPG, you'll be able to do a lot with that. But when I say not all distributors are the same, not everybody is like a big thing like Drive Through RPG, where basically you take all kinds of publishers and redistribute their stuff. Some RPG publishers only sell products from their website. Um, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I know I've run into that where I've tried to search for PDFs, come to find out that it's just not distributed anywhere but the one website. And it might only be a PDF, or you might not be able to get the book or whatever. Usually I'm happy, but you don't know what you're going to get. The other option are people like Fake Core, Evil Hat Productions has been doing a lot with like EPUBs, I want to say, and so they've actually made EPUBs, and not a lot of people are doing that. Um, that's a little bit later, but not all formats are the same. Drive Through RPG focuses on PDFs. The Fate Core has been publishing EPUBs, which is pretty cool. Um, but we'll talk about formats later. So there's also another type of way to get your material, and it's Adventure a Week, and they sell modules on kind of, I think it's like a subscription basis, I want to say, so don't quote me on that. Then we have people like Indie Press Revolution. You can get some stuff through Kickstarter. There's been this thing I've heard about that's called a bundle of holding. I'll have links to a lot of the stuff in the write up, but things to keep your eye out for. Now, when I talked about formats, there's actually not all digital formats are the same. It really depends on the device you're going to use, computer, a smartphone, uh, all that kind of stuff. And so what happens is you have different formats that fit that device better. So if you have a Kindle, an EPUB would probably work the best. Or if you have like just a computer, PDFs are great. If you have a something else like a Nook, maybe an EPUB is really good too. And so, wow, I think I said Kindles would like an EPUB. No, Kindles would like the Kindle 8 format. Blar, made that mistake. But yeah, there are very specific formats, and this gets into a whole realm of conversation. All I say is go to mobile, read the forums, and check out as much as you can there, as much as you can absorb, because There's God, there's so much about it. There's a whole course on it at Columbia University if you want to get into digital publishing and EPUBs and that kind of stuff. I love it. It's one of the things that I really like to code, but there's a lot to it. I think PDFs are probably going to rise to the top as just the most universal format because people can have it on their computer and it's closest to the original published form. But I don't want to bore people with the ebook formats, but like I said, go to mobile read forums and you will like find everything you ever wanted to know about ebooks and the hardware, the software and the hardware. Um, there's another thing too, the licensing. Not all digital licensing is the same. Like Drive Through RPG, their licensing is it's usually a DRM PDF, and they're going to print whoever the purchaser's name is at the bottom of the PDF. So that's stuff to be cognizant of. You really want to know what type of licensing you're buying with the ebook that you just purchased. Not everything's the same. It's not like paper. It's a whole war out there, unfortunately, when it comes to ebooks. And so you really want to make sure that you're on the right side of the law when it comes to your ebooks. And some publishers, because like I said, not all publishers are the same. Some publishers actually allow you to have enough licenses for the people at the game. I've heard some pretty cool arrangements, and there's also things where you can buy a paper book and get a digital edition with it, or flip that, buy a digital edition, get a paper book. Like Firefly, I got it at Gen Con, I got the paper book, and then I was able to get the PDF, and that was awesome. So really pay attention to the licensing. You might get a little bit more bang for your buck with that. And look for bundled book deals. There's also like game masters. Once you go digital, think about things that can maybe help you. If you really are into a game like Pathfinder, Savage World, something has a big following, maybe you could start doing affiliate links. So every time you write about your game digitally, you have an affiliate link set up that points people right to something that might gain you some money. And it's not from your players necessarily, it's just from the world at large. You know, once you're public online, maybe you can benefit yourself a little bit. Another idea is you could review material. So maybe your group likes to buzz through a lot of material, right? And so you could actually, some people like to give away digital material a lot easier than paper material. So you say, hey, I have a group of people, we'll totally put it on our podcast or on our blog or on our write up. And if the publisher's into it or the game designer needs to get a little bit more airplay for his game, they or his or her game, they might be up for it. So always kind of keep it open for maybe you want to review material if your group or if yourself is up for that. And then there's indie publishers in general are kind of worth supporting. I know the mainstream games are what we grew up on. It's what we like, usually what got us into the whole system. But there's a whole ton of independent publishers. And I'm probably preaching to the choir now, because if you're watching this podcast, you probably are from that independent line. But I'm just saying, for people that maybe are just D&D only, you might be, I don't know, not Savage Worlds necessarily, but Pathfinder only, something like that, D20 only. There's a whole ton of people that just do this for the fun of it, and they make up a wide variety of rules, and they really enjoy what they're doing. And sometimes when you pick up those books full of that passion, it just overwhelms you and you have a lot of fun. So even though it might take a little bit more research, the indie publishers I think are worth supporting. So just putting that out there. And that ends, really, in my opinion, the first part of the digital campaigning. So that was about digital publishers and different things you should know. All right, have fun and make comments. Game on. We are going to talk a little bit more about digital campaigning, keeping your campaign off pen and paper and completely electronic. And so there's 5 segments. This is the second segment. So this would be the character and tracker generator section. But all in all, we're going to cover digital publishers, character trackers and generators, socializing online, gaming and collaboration tools, and then recording and blogging your games. So this one with the character and tracker tokens, we're going to talk about different character generators. So I've had a ton of fun with character generators. They save a lot of time. I know, God, there's something about having pen and paper, preferably pencil and paper, and making that character the first time, rolling the dice, writing it down. But there's also something to be said about leaving the pen and paper somewhere, having just an automatic dice roller that's easy accessible, that you can push, does the whole computation for you, takes care of a lot of that overhead. There's something to be said about that. And that's what really drew me to those character trackers and those character generators. And so some of the ones that I've heard about and that were suggested were Pathfinder's PC Gen. I say, wait, flip that. PC Gen does games like Pathfinder, D20, D&D, different things like that. So PC Gen is really a good software if you're looking to do a lot of different systems. They've even done independent publishers like, or sorry, game designers like Killshot. Broken Ruler Games has Killshot on there, and that's a really niche kind of game. So it's worth picking up and looking at. And if you have a game, maybe you're a game designer who's really techie and you want to put your game in there so then people can make characters really easily, that might be a thought too. So since it's open source, it's really open for people's initiative. How much energy do you want to put into making something cool for the community? So that one I like a lot just because it's open source. Open source definitely speaks to my heart. But there's other ones too. And so I play a lot of Shadowrun, and Shadowrun uses, or doesn't use, I like to use Chummer. Chummer is just a free program that people can use, and it works really well. It goes up to 4th edition. There is a 5th edition of Shadowrun that was released in 2013, and other systems do that one. I want to say, I'm just kind of looking right now. Hero Labs is going to do Shadowrun 5th edition in the next series. It's not as of today, but maybe by the time you see this video, they'll have it updated. And Hero Labs is actually another PC generator, character generator tool. So again, all these links will actually be up on a blog post where you probably have found this video, hopefully. So you can just go ahead and follow the links. If not, just go to lugcon.com. I'll have the links up there on a post for you. Another character generator is dinglesgames.com. That was suggested to us. And so there's definitely a few out there, and if you look, I'm sure you're going to find even more. So, don't be afraid to use Google. You'll find more and more stuff. But there's all kinds of games out there, and people are making different types of character generators. Now, I got into those details, but I should step back a minute and say, what is a character generator? What's a character tracker? What the heck is he talking about? Maybe you should have started with that first. So a character generator is going to be some type of digital software, some type of software that's going to let you make a character with all the rules included. And one of the things that I love is what they output. So you put all this information into it, just a few clicks, but then they output things like for D&D, the spell descriptions with all the little details. How many times I've tried to sit there and write in a super detailed character sheet all the little information so I don't have to go back to the book. Some of these really good character generators will put that information right on the page when you print it. Other ones like PC Gen, we call it a character tracker, or at least I do, when it will let you advance a character. So you create it in that software, but then you also can advance it however you advance it in that software. So like Chummer lets you do it with Karma, PC Gen lets you do it with the levels for like D&D is what I was playing, 3.5 or 3.0, stuff like that. So it's really awesome to have all that information there, because then that eliminates, oh man, this character sheet is full, or I wrote it in pen, because remember, pencil's your friend. I wrote it in pen, so now I got to rewrite the whole thing because I leveled up and my attributes are different, so it looks neat. This is all in there already, and hopefully it gives you a history, and if you get a level drain, It should go backwards. But then again, think of these as qualities that you want in a character tracker or generator. You want it to be able to go from start to finish with your character. It'd be nice to be able to create it and retire your character all in that same program. So think about that when you're looking. Check out the features, read up on forums about what that generator does, character tracker does, and see what you like. Um, think about the input and output methods. One of the biggest problems in the industry right now is there's not a lot of inter, cooperation, and so it's too small, or something doesn't click, but people don't cooperate with each other. So there's no open source standard for like input and output for your characters, but it would be really helpful. It'd be nice to be able maybe to create your character in this one program, but then bring it into another because everybody's using that one, or pick up characters online in an open format. So this is something that I beg from the community in the future as we develop, is to really just kind of go to a common input output format, some kind of text or CSV delimited type thing where we can just have a standard output of attributes and characteristics, and that can get sucked up and put into whatever little XML thing we have. So that'd be nice. But it's not there yet. So just be aware of that. If you do the work in one program, you'll probably have to do it in another. I don't know enough to talk about any of these programs individually. I've definitely used Chummer and I've used PCGen personally, and I really enjoy the time they save and the amount of overhead that it prevents for me. Um, but I can't tell you anything really about Hero Labs besides it looks pretty. I've seen characters made in Hero Labs in games that I've played, and I was like, wow, where'd you get that? And I wanted it, but I just haven't ponied up the money, excuse me, to become a Hero Labs user. So I really don't know how that works, but depending on what system you use, there's a lot of options. Um, let's see. It'd be nice to save your PCs between games. I think some programs, trackers use different payment models. So some things might be subscription based, other things might be free, and some of them might be software that you just purchase one time. So all things to keep in mind when you're going to buy that, or when you're going to get a new piece of software. Do you have to maintain it? Is it something you're going to lose if you don't pay the monthly fee, or can you just buy it once and get all the updates forever? That kind of thing. So have fun finding more. Comment if you find any additional, especially the Savage Worlds one. I did not hear about a Savage Worlds kind of generator or anything like that, and that'd be pretty neat too. But there's a ton of systems beyond that, so please share with your wealth of knowledge, and game on. Have fun. This is going to be section 3 and 4 of the digital campaigning series, because I couldn't really see stretching them to 40 minutes, so I think they're going to cover probably about 10 minutes combined. So 3 and 4 are socializing and gaming and collaboration tools. And so the whole digital campaigning really covers 5 stages. There's the digital publishers, the character trackers and generators, the socializing, the gaming and collaboration tools, and recording games through blogs. So this one being 3 and 4, I don't know. It's actually the one that I enjoy a lot too. So socializing online, I didn't know a good way of putting it, because there's like social media, but that's not just it. We're gamers. We really need a way to connect. We need a way to have fun with each other and stuff. And so different websites have tried to do it, but nobody's figured out exactly what we need. There's no Google in terms of socializing for games, even though Google's starting to become one of the better places to organize. But scratch that idea. Even Google doesn't have it down right. They just threw down a big net and happened to catch a lot of gamers. But really, the ones that have started to hit on strategies that work, the one that's going to come up a lot is called Inferno.net, and it's Inferno without the E. So infrno.net. Great website, and they transcend all this. They're closed or walled garden, So everything you do just stays there. It doesn't have a lot of reach because people have to be members and that kind of thing. Unfortunately, Facebook and Google have the permissions down a lot better and stuff. So, but either way, they do a really good job with covering a lot of different functions in one website, which is awesome, and really cater to the gamer. But before we get there, the point of section 3, the point of socializing is you have to find new people to game with. Gaming is not something that happens on an island. It's not something that happens alone. It could happen on an island, but it wouldn't happen with one person. You really have to have a lot of people to game, or at least enough people to fill out your game. You have to have a game master and then somebody else to sit there and interact with the game master. And so socializing is a big part of it. Once you have the system, you have to have the players, or vice versa, or not vice versa. Once you have the system, you have to have the game master to run the players. And so one website that I like is Pen and Paper Games. I think they do a really good job with connecting people, having forums. Of course, there's Board Game Geek and all that kind of stuff, but these are ones that really deal with kind of gamers, like role-playing tabletop gamers. Lots of Google Plus communities are out there for whatever you're looking for. I like Dresden Files. There's a community for Dresden Files RPG, Savage Worlds, D&D, Pathfinder, yada yada. So you can find whatever you want probably in a Google Plus community. There's also another website called nearbygames.com. So nearbygames.com. Again, these links will be up on lugcon.com later. So if you miss it here, you'll catch it later. But yeah, that's another one that I've heard of to really connect people. So you kind of say where you are, what you want to play, and then find people in the area. Some of these focus on connecting virtually and physically. A lot of them kind of focus on connecting physically, but see, you can transcend that. You can do whatever you want and make it work for you. So you don't have to just meet people physically. You could be like, oh, we play online too because the person can't drive half an hour. So another thing too with socializing is podcasts. Maybe listening to some podcasts, getting a better thumb on the community that you're gaming in, and maybe where they congregate. So if you're really into Pathfinder, you find some Pathfinder style podcasts, and they start to tell you about other forums and websites that you can check out that you might enjoy, to help you socialize and find other people that play the game. Or you might even be able to play with the podcasters themselves. I mean, don't rule out asking somebody famous if they want a game. You never know what'll happen. Um, they might say no, but they'll probably say yes. Then there's organizing your players. So another part of socializing isn't just the things like pen and paper games or nearbygames.com. It's actually organizing players, getting them together and actually playing. And that broaches into conventions. And that's why I really like this topic. Being the organizer of LugCon, if I can talk about conventions, yay, that's great. So G Plus communities help you organize your players like we talked about before. Inferno.net does some conventions, but they also help you organize your players because they help you organize and play your game. Really cool. There's another website called Warhorn, W-A-R Horn, Warhorn, and they're to help you schedule and do event type scheduling, but I think they work with gaming specific. And then there's Con Planner, which the idea of Con Planner, CONPLANNER planner, is to like help you do event scheduling for conventions. So you sign up your members. I don't think it takes payments. I don't think any of these deal with any type of payment card situation, but they do help you register people into events and schedule your events so people can see them in a common place. And LugCon doesn't do it that way. We just use Google as a back end and some other stuff. So yeah, but organize players any way you can find people that are organizing to play the game is a good thing because you want to find your players. So 3 is find the players. Now 4 is going to be collaboration tools, and this is the meat of it, in my opinion. This is really where the game happens because you have to play the game. So you got your player, you got your book, You got your character, you got your players. Now you need to get together and actually roll the bones. It's time to get the experience. It's time to defeat the obstacles and, win all the successes and benefits that come with that. So, the way to do that, the way to game online and collaborate, is however it works for you. Technology can be crippling, so don't get stuck on one thing. Just use whatever works. So roll20.net is really stable, works awesome. You can do it free, you can do it paid. It gets a map out there, it does a virtual tabletop. Okay, I guess I've jumped ahead a little bit too far. How do we game online? Besides just saying doing it any way you can. It's best to have some type of tool where all the participants on the computer can actually participate with the board like a map. So if you have maybe a dungeon crawl, we like to call it, some type of dungeon setting or some type of setting where it needs a map and the people are placed specifically, it's nice if they are tokens and they can move on a map. You get that type of setup in things like roll20.net. Roll20.net has a map, it has character handouts, it has, oh my god, music, chat, dice rollers, programming, yada yada, the list goes on, and all that's for free. And then it just gets more intense as you pay. But the best part about roll20.net is you can use it and do very little. You don't have to know a lot. You just get in and it's very intuitive and you just use what you need. But if you want to push it as far as playing cards, you could do that. And that's just crazy to me because it's awesome. Versatility is worth it. So we have a whole series on how we use Roll20. I'm going to go ahead and add that link to the lugcon.com website with this post. It's already been added before, but just so you can see a specific whole, like I think it's a half hour or an hour that we talk about Roll20 with one of the developers of Roll20, Nolan T. Jones. So that was a great podcast that we recorded in October, and yeah, really good stuff. So that'll also be here. Another collaboration tool, gaming tool you can use online is Inferno.net. Like I've said before, they're a wall garden. Everything that you do there is kept there socially, everything. But it's awesome. Like that's where I got started. Inferno.net did it. That was the first virtual tabletop that I ever used, and it worked so well for me, and I just never looked back. And I got into things that didn't really succeed until I settled on Roll20 myself. So Inferno.net, drop the E, infrno.net. Great system to use if you want to just like cultivate a game and there's already a community there to tap into all that stuff. Let's see. And then there's this one that you can use around the table. So I really like this idea. It's called Fantasy Grounds. It's a software. And the idea is to take the maintenance off of gaming at the table. So imagine your game master actually has like a computer screen facing everybody. So you got your Mylar map or whatever map down, so you can use your dry erase on it and everything. You got your miniatures down, all your 3D effects and opposition. But now your GM has actually put up his screen and turned it to you, and it shows every character's hit points, or it shows maybe every character's armor level, or whether they're bloodied, or what. And so that's kind of helpful because now all the players can just look up instead of saying, hey, has a cleric used his spells? Has such and such gone? Whose turn is it? It's all right there. We're on initiative 12. Just look at the screen. Let's keep moving. So the idea of Fantasy Grounds is to take care of a lot of the overhead at the table. And I thought it was a great idea. I don't use it, but I know a lot of people do, and they have a convention based around it that's community supported. So it's got a huge community. Definitely something worth checking out, and it's here on Google+. So Fantasy Grounds is a good virtual kind of software to use. Another place you want to go is rpgvirtualtabletop.wiki.com. Darn, you're gonna have to look at that link because the wiki dot is actually the letters wiki dot, and the dot's just the dot, and oh man, it's bad. So I digress. Important link to find virtual tabletops, because not all of virtual tabletops are created the same. Roll20.net is a web browser based one, which is why I love it, because anybody can get into it who has the E on their computer. They don't even have to know what the internet is. They just have to know that they have an E on their computer and they can use it. So that's awesome. But then you have all kinds of other stuff that gets really complicated that lets you do a VPN and lets you keep things very secure, and person can only use this type of port and all that kind of stuff because you're worried about security or you have to do it at work or whatever's happening. But yeah, there's all kinds of options, and they keep a website of just every VTT is what I like to call them, so virtual tabletop that's out there. Another thing to think about when you're gaming, and you're gaming whether in person or not, is what device are you going to use. Like right now I'm using a computer with a webcam and a speaker and a headset and a mic, because that works really well for the computer, but that might not work so well for the phone or the tablet. And so you got to really think about the device. The screen size, are you going to be able to use it in the area you're at? So I can do a lot with my webcam, and so I like to do Roll20 in weird places sometimes because I'm on the move, I'm at a hotel, but sometimes you can't. So you really got to think about, like, oh man, I'm going to be in the lobby doing a game. That might not work, or on my phone doing a game, or you need Wi-Fi or you need a landline. So really think about your device, screen size. If you're going to be doing it at a convention or something that has a lot of traffic on the cell towers, it's probably going to slow it down. So maybe you want to buy a better connection. With hotels, you can buy like dedicated connections and stuff like that. So think about your device, the recharge time on it. Can I play an entire game on my computer? It only lasts an hour, might not be enough. All kinds of stuff to think about with devices, but I don't want to get into that too much. Just think about it yourself. The main one you're going to use with a lot of the virtual tabletops will just be a computer, a camera, and a headset. One of the other things is etiquette. There's a lot of notes. Don't chew, don't cough, don't make loud sounds. Mute yourself if you're going to talk to people in the background. Maybe message a lot of the side chatter in the chat instead of talking over the mic. Background noise is horrible. Make sure you have a good connection. Try not to just talk to your computer. Try and have a headset, because the background noise on top of a vocal speaker, those like panoramic speakers or whatever they use in those, can just be horrible. Like trying to do it at a coffee shop without a headset. Holy Jesus, please don't join my game. So there's stuff like that. There's also, so here's where you get your maps and your tokens. RPG Map Share, they have some great free material. They have some great commercial material. They have a ton of material. Oh my gosh. If you've never played a game, you need to just jumpstart and get a bunch of stuff, go there. Might take a while, so start like a week ahead. I'm just kidding. But they do have a lot of material. So it's RPG Map Share. Another thing is, as game masters or players or game designers or publishers or whoever, these videos can be used as teaching tools. I don't edit a lot of my videos, but really kind of take a pause and think, can this maybe help save me time in the future? Like a game designer, if I just do a section on character creation and really make sure to edit it, put some captions in and different animated examples that people can follow easily, or maybe even just a narration over people playing the game, to really explain it once instead of twice or every time that I talk to people. So try and use the technology to your advantage. Save some time in the future. Other gaming options that people have used besides the virtual tabletops, which I espouse, are virtual tabletops. Don't waste your time with other stuff, but if you want to, there's other options. And the other options would be things like Whiteboard. There's a website or application called Whiteboard that you could use. I've seen people make things in Google Presentation. I use Symphonical for one game, which is a Google Hangouts app that you could add in, called Symphonical, Symphonical. Some people draw and write it up and put it on the web camera. So it's like, oh yeah, here's a map, bam, look at it, oh yeah. That kind of thing happens. So you can get as low tech or as high tech as you want. As long as you're sitting around gaming, Google Hangout should probably get you there, and it shouldn't be a problem. Um, and then I think there's a next level of gaming that's going to integrate technology with you in person. And like, say you come to a gaming session at a convention, and you get a text on your phone or an email to the email you use for registration that tells you here's your character, here's what you should do next. So it would be nice if we could take gaming to the next level and not just say, oh, we're happy to not have paper anymore. It'd be nice to say, oh, now we've taken this game to another level because it's a bit more integrated. I don't know. Not total immersion, but how can we take gaming to the next level using these these electronics or anything like that? So that's that section. I'm glad I bundled them together. I probably could have recorded them separate, but hopefully you got a lot from it. So here's Trey from LugCon and game on. This is the fifth section, intro, before a little interview that we have with Jerry from Obsidian Portal. There's 5 sections total, and I tried to split it up so that I didn't bore you with an hour-long talk. But the 5 sections are going to cover digital publishers is section 1. Section 2 would be character trackers and generators. Section 3 is socializing, and that was recorded along with section 4, which talks about collaboration tools and gaming online. And then section 5 is the one we're at now, where it's recording your games and probably a blog or some type of web presence. And so we talked with Obsidian Portal. There's a couple other, or at least, yeah, I know 2 other websites that let you kind of talk about your game, link to characters, upload files, that, well, not files, but get characters online and that kind of stuff. So one other one I heard of besides Obsidian Portal is Epic Words. And another is this website that kind of transcends everything because it does it all, is inferno.net. It's INFRNO.net. They spell Inferno without the E. And Inferno is pretty cool, but I really enjoy Google Plus. But Inferno does let you keep it all in one spot, so they keep everything simple, from character generation all the way up, or not character generation, scratch that, from socializing online to having forums to actually having a virtual tabletop built in and being able to record your games in some type of like story format. So they're pretty cool for that. But Obsidian Portal is one I use. They have a free version and there's just a lot of cool stuff. So I won't talk too much now, but know that record your games online. Use this as a way to link maybe back to blogs, make some money off of affiliate links, but don't lose opportunities. And maybe over time, using social links and that kind of stuff, you'll build a following, and at some point, maybe you'll make some money off of your gaming. But try and take gaming to the next level. And you know, gaming is a community that shares a lot. Gamers share a ton, and so they enjoy consuming what you have to offer, and they enjoy sharing what they've done. So put it out there. All right, go ahead and listen to our interview, and I'll leave you be. Game on. Welcome to LugCon. This is going to be part 5 of a, a panel, a whole panel. But I had to split it into chunks because people would get bored with the whole thing. So Jerry's actually going to just talk with us really quick, and I say Jerry. Jerry with Obsidian Portal, who's here with us today, is going to talk about their product that they have online, because this is a key piece of the online campaigning and getting away from pen and paper. So Jerry, like to introduce you, whatever you want to say about yourself.
Hey, I'm Jerry. I'm the content director, community manager, whatever fancy title you want to put on me for Obsidian Portal. I've been with Obsidian Portal for 2 years. It's going to be getting close to 3 here pretty soon. And you guys, if anybody know me on Twitter personally, I'm Dread Gazebo on Twitter, and I am 50. Well, technically not 50% of Obsidian Portal anymore. We just hired kind of a third person, so it's Micah, myself, and one person that we just hired on. So it's I think a lot of times people hear about Obsidian Portal and they think that there's just dozens or hundreds of people or something, and it's really just us. So So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I'm an IT guy by day. I've been playing role playing games since I was like 13. Whenever I discovered that Baldur's Gate was a video game, that's when I discovered that Dungeons and Dragons was this game, and so there was the beginning. So yeah,
Oh,
that's me.
amen. D&D is kind of like my core. I hear you.
Yeah, same here.
So I want to get out to the people in the next 15 minutes, if we can,
Sure.
what Obsidian Portal could do for them. Because I've used it a little bit. I really like it. I wish I could spend more time to make my stuff look just awesome. But
Mhm.
I guess just quickly, my question would be, what can people do with Obsidian Portal, and what's your mission of the for the website?
Okay, so Obsidian Portal, first and foremost, the mission of the website is to help people avoid having to use pen and paper in their games. It's not meant to be a replacement for actually getting together at a table and playing with people. We're not a virtual tabletop by any means, and currently at this time we have no plans on ever becoming one. So I think that's a common misconception when people hear about us. So I always like to get that out of the way first, but essentially, Obsidian Portal is a wiki or a blog for your campaign, however you want to look at it, whichever word you're more comfortable with. And so it's a place to chronicle, document, and just put up resources for your game between yourself and your players. And you can utilize it if you play in person or not. That doesn't matter. Some people even use the site to do play-by-post games, not even using a virtual tabletop. They utilize the forums that are built into their campaign. Um, but in a nutshell, it's just a collection. It's a wiki that's specialized towards people who play role-playing games. So you sign up, it's free, and you've got spots for everything from the campaign maps in your game to you can post adventure logs, which are basically like blog sections where you can document, what you did last session or what's coming up. Some of the more advanced features of the site, if you subscribe, there's a calendar that you can use to plan your games, and you can subscribe to it, and have it in your iCalendar or have it go to Google and all those other things and sync it and kind of really stay in touch. Um, and the another main functionality is the wiki. So as you kind of build up lore in your games, whether it's a homebrew campaign or whether you're just tracking some adventure module that you're running, you can put in, you put in characters, you put in NPCs, and it's all really quick and brief. So as opposed to the old, what we call like the old method, I'm going to jot down this shopkeeper's name in the margins of this piece of paper that I'll later spill beer on, and it'll get thrown in the garbage. And then the next session will be like, hey, what's that shopkeeper's name? And you'll be like, I don't know. So um, we that's basically that's the embodiment of Obsidian Portal, right? Don't jot things
Nice.
down on a notebook. Keep it nicely somewhere online, focal, like a good focal point where you can, jump to and from characters, NPCs, all that stuff. And as a DM, you have a lot of tools. As a player, you have a lot of tools. There's also some cool features like GM secrets, where a GM can go in and put in a GM secret, and only certain people can see those secrets about those characters, and lots of other little bells and
Thank you for the
whistles.
GM secret. I like that. Because in my own personal notes, you guys really took a lot of the elements of my own personal notes and put them on a website. Because I didn't want to make a whole blog for the whole thing. It's like, let me just plug in the little bits that I have.
Right,
Like,
right. And that's another thing, is that, sometimes you hear people say, oh well, I can just use, this forum website for forums, and I can use this for a blog, and I can use Dropbox for my files. And well, yeah, you can, but we're trying to make it all centralized. And actually, we ran a Kickstarter not that long ago, and so we've revamped the site recently, and one of our upcoming features is going to be a file locker. So all those people that have been like, oh, why can't we store our files? Because it's right now it's just images. You put images in your campaign, but in the future, it's going to be your images, your Word docs, your Excel spreadsheets, whatever that is that you're using for your game, you'll be able to keep it on there as well. So that's coming
oh,
down the pipe, and some other cool stuff.
very nice. That's going to be awesome. And now, did I hear you right that there's some way you can socially link up your campaign? Because I already know you can, sorry, draw people to the website with a link. But is there something now where if I make a post, it goes directly to some type of social media? Did I
Yeah.
catch
So
that?
when you post adventure logs, you can so once you sign up, you can link your account to Google. I'm sorry, Google Plus, Facebook, and Twitter, and you can have it auto post. So let's say you post a recap of last night's session, you can have it auto go straight out to Facebook, Google Plus, whatever, for the whole world
Nice.
to read if they want, or not. I mean, you can make your campaign private as well, so that only you or your players can see it. So
Well, I like that. I can definitely link that up to my page, and I'm gonna look into that. Thanks.
no problem.
Now, another thing is, what are some of the best uses, or what's one of the best uses you've seen for Obsidian Portal? So you're the creator, you got blinders on, you're trying to make a product, but now you've kind of seen what people have done with it in the wild.
hmm
What's like a good case you'd want to relate to people, or something they should
So
strive to do?
there's there's really Obsidian Portal is really a big blank slate, and you can kind of you make of it whatever you want. And we've seen, there's all those tools for, a lot of people really love our maps. You can put a map, and it's kind of like a Google map where you can zoom in, you can place map markers on it, and you can show like, oh, the party is currently here, or you can mark, the villain's lair, or you can kind of dot little, oh, we had an encounter here on the map, and you can click on the little map marker, and then you can put links in that take you to the adventure log, like, oh, remember that time we fought those wolves in the forest, and you see the map of the forest, and you click on it, and then you click on the adventure log, and you're like, oh, there's the recap. But aside
Oh,
from the
nice.
status quo, I mean, we've got people. Some of our community members have put together campaigns full of, and it's not actually a campaign, but it's a campaign wiki dedicated to stock NPCs for your game, villains. And there's also another guy who runs a gaming music, and this campaign page is dedicated to ambient music, sound effects, all sorts of things. These resources online for people to use in their games, and so they're just kind of out there as general gaming resources that people have put together. And if you are an Ascendant, that's what we call our paid subscribers, you have access to custom CSS and some HTML code to where you can customize your website. But so if you're a wizard in one of those departments, you can definitely make it look really, really special. But one of the core ideas of our reforging was making the website look much better and much more accessible to people who don't have those skills. And so I believe that we've really achieved that recently. And
Yes.
another thing about all that is that, it kind of it's funny to me because when we first started talking, you said you want to be able to use Obsidian Portal more and do all these cool things with it. And I think a lot of times when people hear about Obsidian Portal, immediately they're like, I want to make the best campaign wiki. I'm going to take my 10 years worth of notes, and I'm going to put it in this wiki, and I'm going to make it have the best banner image, and it's going to look so slick and oh
Yeah.
man. And then you end up burning yourself out because you're turning it into a job. And so Micah and I always say, if you're going to use Obsidian Portal, just put your feet in the water at first. Do your session recap, make a bulleted list. You don't have to write a novel. You don't have to have the prettiest maps. Just you use it to aid you, and you don't have to feel beholden to it. Like, well, I need to put all this stuff. I need to make a wiki page for every faction and every god ever and all that stuff. You just use it to, if it makes you running your game easier, or it makes your players have easier access to your lore or their character sheet or whatever it is they need, that's really what we're here for. So it's kind of, you can take an inch or you can take a mile. It's up to you, but you don't need to feel obligated to be like, I'm going to make the best campaign wiki ever and everybody's going to come from miles around to see it. Like, just
Yeah.
use it so that it helps you. That was the entire vision of the site, was how can I make running a role-playing game easier, because man, keeping track of all this crap sucks. So
It does when you have like disparate pieces of paper everywhere and different bags, and oh, I left it at home.
yeah,
How
yeah,
many GMs say that? It's at my girlfriend's house who just kicked me out last night or whatever. But yeah,
yeah.
amen. So I am so sorry I keep coughing to everybody
Oh,
that's listening.
it's fine. I'm usually the one doing that, so it's
Killing
all
the
good.
mic. One of the best ones that I've seen, well, best. I had first of all, I say you guys did awesome job with the revamping it. It looks wonderful. I came back in
Thank
October.
you.
I'm like, whoa, what's this? I had heard it was coming, but to see it was definitely striking. But one of the best wiki kind of game blogs that I saw was this guy that I know on Google Plus, and it was really neat how he had all the links to the characters. He had just slight background. He really went intense, but he brought me into it.
hmm
And so when I do see people like do it to the nine, it's just it draws you in.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh, definitely.
and I know I have all these notes. See, I have dreams for it because I have all these notes that I've kept for other games, and I'm not going to go backlog or backfile, put everything in, but I'm taking the advice and just starting from now, doing
Mhm.
some simple bullets in my current games, and I can't wait in a year to see what they look like on this.
Oh
When I can
yeah,
drill back into it and
yeah.
clear it up.
And another one of the great things is that you kind of have this log of everything that you've ever done. So depending on how often your game group meets, we'd all like to meet once a week or every other week, but let's face it, life gets in the way. Like, it's Christmas time's coming. I know my game's going to be on hiatus until January. And when we come
Amen.
back to the table and everybody's like, well, what did we do last time? Instead of having to rifle through, and even if you cut out the physical, let's say you don't have a notebook, let's say you have Google Docs, but you also have a folder full of pictures somewhere, and you kind of have all these different things in all these different places. It's just easier to be like, well, let's pull up Obsidian Portal. Okay, here was our last adventure log. This is what happened, and then you'll have people like, oh, okay, I remembered. And I should also add, another one of the things with the reforging was we tried to make the site really mobile friendly, because a lot of times, let's face it, you don't want people pulling laptops up around the table. Most people have a cell phone or something, or a tablet, whatever, and it's very quick. It's the mobile interface now is a lot better than it used to be, where you can just pull it up on your phone and just kind of scroll through it.
Nice. I like mobile.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out for sure. I know you don't want to detract from the games, but it's awesome. Like when somebody else is doing something, taking the limelight, you
Hmm.
can pull out your phone and actually still be engaged with the game and not playing Candy Crush. So
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah, definitely.
I'm only partly distracted.
Right. And that's the best you can hope for.
Yeah.
Having your players only
electronic
be partly distracted.
Yeah, electronic devices were horrible for a gaming scenario because I started in the 80s, of course, and so back then it was people side conversations, walking off, having a cigarette. But now it's freaking
Yeah.
phones. Like,
Yeah. Well,
uh,
you could have everybody put their phones in a bowl when they show up at your house. Put your phone in the bowl, and or there's always the blue lightning game, where if somebody's playing with their phone. Yeah, I saw you shake your head like,
yeah, I
what?
haven't seen
So
that.
this was new to me too. I had a player join one of my games, and he's like, oh, blue lightning, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, well, my old GM, if he saw you playing with your phone or messing around with it, he would say, "Oh, you just got struck by blue lightning. You lost 5 hit points." And people would be like,
Oh,
"What?" And he's like, "Yeah, put your phone away." So that's the blue
ouch.
lightning rule.
That's a good one. I like it. Now, you kind of answered this about Obsidian Portal, but I kind of wanted to, I guess, finally put it to rest since it was one of my questions.
Sure.
Obsidian Portal is not genre based.
No, no. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, because that's kind of a thing that just like melds into the background for me, and I think so. I know that the Obsidian Portal logo is a dragon, and I know that
Oh,
sometimes we
yeah.
do promo stuff and we talk about D&D on the podcast every now and then, reference things like that. But Obsidian Portal is ultimately geared around being system neutral. We are constantly adding new systems. When people submit a support ticket and they're like, "Hey, I've been playing this game and it's not listed on the site," I'll go ahead and add it in there. And the whole idea is that we try and keep it to the basics, and we don't try, and there are no mechanics integrated. There are no, you can play Dark Heresy or D&D or Pathfinder or Fiasco or Savage Worlds or whatever it is that you play. You can keep track of it on Obsidian Portal, and Obsidian Portal makes no ifs, ands, or buts about what you're playing. We don't care. We think all role-playing games are great. So that's our whole motto. Now we have customized character sheets, but those are created by community members. So
Oh,
depending on what system you play, let's say you play Pathfinder, when you go to create a character, or when you go to make a character, if you have a premium account, you might see different Pathfinder character sheets that are dynamic and they look very fancy, and you can plug numbers into them and stuff. But that is on a, that's a community thing. So if somebody hasn't made a page for it, or I'm sorry, a character sheet for your system, then you're always welcome to reach out to somebody and say, "Hey, can you make one for this?" Or if you're skilled enough, you can make it yourself. So that's the kind of
nice.
the only thing that we do that plays into a specific system, but that's not in our hands. That's in the hands of the community.
Kind of what's popular floats to the top.
Yeah,
Now, my last final question here. That's horrible. I'm not prepped. My notes got to get back in front of me.
it's
Uh,
all good.
what do you get for free with Obsidian Portal, and what do you get for paying?
Okay, so um, with Obsidian Portal, the paid features um, are mainly, so the paid features are things like the campaign forums, the calendar, planning. But as far as your adventure log, your wikis, characters, NPCs, items, all that stuff, that is included in a free account. In a free account, we do have a limitation on maps and file storage, but I believe that this is so bad that I don't know this because I haven't been a non-paid member for so long. But I think there's only a 1 or 2 map limit on a free account, and there's many more with a paid account. But also we're upping those things as far as like file storage. When we implement our file storage locker, free users are going to have a lot more storage space. I think it's going to be. Hang on, you know what? Let me pull up the Kickstarter so that I am not giving false information.
Because you know somebody's out there taking notes and ready to
Oh yeah. Oh
catch
no,
you.
I know. Somebody's waiting to be like, that guy said on that podcast, I heard him and I'm gonna hold him to it. And
Yeah.
I'm only human. I'm only one person. I work like 20 hours out of the 24 hours in a day, so you'll have to excuse my brain. Let's see. So the
I
file
hear you.
storage locker, the free limit is going to go to 250 megs, and the paid limit will go up to 10 gigabytes of storage space. So
Wow.
that's the change. One of the changes that's coming down the pipe here, and then a few other things are DMC, like the character secrets, are part of the paid subscription, and I'm sure there's a few that I'm forgetting, but that's the gist of it.
Nice. Well, I have a free membership right now. I haven't, like, I've only done 2 sessions and put them up there. So I'm just getting my feet wet with it. But I didn't feel any restriction. Like, because I'm not trying to go, crazy with the whole thing,
Hmm.
it felt comfortable to me. I was able to get my characters in, my NPCs, some story descriptions. So just telling people out there who are like, what, you have to pay? Try it first still before you like discount it because you might have to pay for some extra features because I didn't miss a thing.
Right, and the extra features are like we don't try and cripple people who don't have the paid account. It's just more bells and whistles. Like for example, here's one of the paid features I forgot about is you can have multiple GMs in a campaign. So you can have a game master and then a co-game master, and so that's kind of like a thing that's very special case scenario for some people. Just stuff like that. So.
Sweet. And I just thought about it too. I know the subscriptions aren't painful either. So guys, gals, whoever's out there, it's not even expensive if you do think to sign up. So
Yeah, and we
just
also
putting that
have a
out there.
free trial. There's a 15-day free trial as well. So there's that, and it's basically it boils down to about $5 a month if you do the yearly plan.
There you go. Yeah, I knew. I was like, I'm on the fence. I've come back, a couple times, so yeah, I was like, I think this is definitely going to work for me because I like it too. I'm doing game design, and so I want people to get the flavor of the game. And so by seeing the past sessions,
Hmm.
I don't have to sit there and tell them, well, this is what it's like, and this is where we're at. It's like, if you want to be in the game, make a character, read up on my Obsidian Portal post, and then you'll be right up to speed.
Right. You know what? God, I'm sorry. I have. It's if you do the year plan, it's only like $3. It's $3.33 a month. If you do it month by month, it's $5 a month.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, if you don't commit, you're going to cost yourself more money.
Yes.
$2 more.
And I should also add, for anybody who's listening, we do have a podcast. We have it's Haste, the official Obsidian Portal podcast. It's at hastepodcast.com, and we slightly use it as a marketing tool. Not gonna lie, every episode we have a tip on how to use Obsidian Portal better. But it used to be a 15-minute show, but now we drone on to about 30 sometimes because we can't help ourselves. But the entire point of the podcast is to get out cool RPG stuff, like whether it's news or Kickstarters or something Mike Merle said on Twitter and everybody's talking about it, some controversial thing. We cover 3 topics in the RPG industry every episode. We have 1 episode a week, and they're always 15 to 30 minutes, so it's good for like a car ride or if you commute to work. We try and get in there and get it done. The whole reason we made the podcast is because we didn't want to be one of those podcasts where you just listen to 2 guys drone on for like hours about their opinions on every little thing ever. I mean, we're opinionated, but we're quick about it, and we welcome all of our listeners to disagree, and we like debate, healthy debate and stuff. So give it a listen sometime. Even if you're not a podcast person, Micah and I both made the podcast because we're like, man, we're not really podcast people, but everybody wants us to make a podcast. How do we do that? So yeah.
And it really comes together. I like it. You have great guests. Your last guest that I just heard this week,
Hmm.
awesome. DMing with charisma, totally hit me on the nail. Like I like the DMing with intelligence, DMing with wisdom, and
Hmm.
DMing with charisma. And I'm
Yeah,
the
I hope
charisma
it's fun
guy.
to have on. Yeah, I think so too. I don't know. I think I have my days where I'm one or the other, but yeah.
Yeah, wish I was an int. Those feel like the rule mongers, the ones that can like sit there and twist and munchkinize.
Yeah.
That's not me. I just like to have a
No.
good time.
No, I can't either. I'm all about just let's have a few beers and there's gonna probably be some really inappropriate jokes and in 3 hours from now maybe you'll have killed some enemies and
Yeah,
stuff and it'll be good times. So I'm
amen.
very I guess I'm very basic when it comes to my RPG desires.
Yes. Well, we'll kill it there. So, stopping.